This may be one of the most personal videos that I post to YouTube, and I've been doing YouTube for years and years and years. But I just wanted to sit down. I felt like it was time to share with you guys something that's been a pretty big part of my life for the past month. At the end of April, beginning of May, I broke up with my boyfriend of 3.5, almost 4 years. We have known each other for like 4 years exactly at this point, but I don't want to share details of the relationship, the breakup, why, anything like that, because I just don't think it's fair to him and also his family and his friends, and his life is not online like mine. He also just wasn't a huge part of my channel or my content. And I think I'm glad for that, because I think it makes this a little bit easier. You guys aren't used to seeing him in every vlog, or, you know, he's just like occasionally on my Instagram. He was very rarely in YouTube videos and stuff, which looking back, I know that's more of what like he wanted and he was comfortable with, but it does help in these scenarios. Basically, I don't want to share a ton of details because again, I just don't think that's fair to him. But I do want to share the overall with you guys and mostly share more about like how I'm healing through things, working through things. I think I can get through this video without crying because I have cried a lot. I have processed it a lot. But I feel like just in pop culture, in movies and in music especially, you hear the breakup stories of where, you know, the guy cheats and the girl has to break up with him, or the guy breaks up with the girl and you're heartbroken. Like, I love Taylor Swift, but so many of her songs are being about like being heartbroken or being broken up with, which is just something that in this situation in my life isn't as relatable. And it's sometimes hard to find someone with the perspective of there's nothing huge wrong in the relationship. There's no huge red flags. Things could continue working out. You're in a comfortable, very comfortable relationship. Like, that's probably the biggest word I could use to describe our relationship. It was very comfortable. We have grown up in our 20s together. We literally met when we were 20, started dating when we were 20. I'm 24 now. So for all of my 20s so far, he has been in my life. But deep down, I just knew that we weren't right for each other. It's just not talked about, where it's like you just have to break up because you know in your gut it's not right. He did nothing wrong. It's just like a feeling that you have to kind of listen to. And again, this is a decision I did not make lightly. I've been thinking about it for a long time. But that does not make it any easier. I know this may seem crazy that I'm like not crying over this and stuff, but it's because I've had to share this story. Not had to, but I've shared this story so many times with family and friends that I've said these things over and over. And the first like probably 10 times I had to talk about this, I was crying a lot, but I've shared it a lot now. And so that's how I'm able to approach this without crying. But I don't want you guys to think I'm, you know, malicious for just straight up talking about this and not breaking down. It's just that I'm like kind of numb to it all now because I've talked about it so much. Like I said, it's been about 4 weeks now. And I listened to this one podcast, speaking of like things I've watched that kind of helped me and why I want to make this video, is Natalie Barbu. She's actually a friend of mine. She made a video maybe 2 years ago about her breakup, and it was very similar. I believe she broke up with her boyfriend of 4 years, like just very similar to mine. And so like watching her video, listening to her podcast, The Real about this kind of stuff, was super helpful. So I recommend her. And also this podcast by Peyton Sartin. I love Peyton Sartin and Note to Self. Peyton Sartin is an influencer that I just love so much. We are nothing alike. We are very different types of people, but I love her content and I love her advice and I love her podcast. And this episode came out in 2022. It's number 52 and it's called A Guide to Your Best Breakup Ever with Kimberly Londa. And it's just like two girls chatting about breakups and things and how to move through them and work through things. And they gave like these three or four, I think I remember 3 like phases of a breakup. And it just like really spoke to me. And I'm like, okay, I'm someone, you guys know my content, like I need a plan. I need something to work towards. And so like having this outline has really helped me. The past few weeks have been a mix of one, processing and just really wallowing and feeling my emotions and telling people about it. It's one of the hardest things, and just going through that. And then it's also been a mixture of like healing myself and working on myself and trying to distract myself, but while at the same time, like knowing when to distract myself and knowing when to feel the emotions and feel the sadness. And so I kind of just wanted to talk through kind of what I've been doing with that. It's like I said, it's only been a few weeks. I still have a lot more to work through. The weekend that it happened, I was very, very sad, very upset. I knew deep down it was the right thing. And I even had processed it mentally. Like I had been sad about it, the breakup that hadn't even happened yet. Like before it happened, you know, when you're processing things, when you're like, okay, am I going to do this? But that doesn't mean that I still wasn't devastated the day that it actually happened, the weekend, the following days. There were just probably a good week. It was probably a good week. And probably if I hadn't processed it before, it would have been more weeks. But like that first week, I was just down bad, you know, as they say. Everything, the world just had that like gray vibe to it. I was just like, good things, I can see good things happening around me or whatnot, but it was like, I had a very heavy heart. It was constantly on my mind, like, which is fine. And I remember I vlogged, I had to do like a little vlog, and I like started crying about it in this vlog, like sitting in this same spot, because it was so heavy on my heart. I still had things to do. I still had work to do and stuff. So I was kind of, and I showed that vlog. I recommend watching that vlog if you kind of want to see like how I kind of worked through a tough day. That was like, I filmed that vlog like 2 days after we had broken up or something. So I was like laying in my bed for half the day, trying to be productive the other half of the day, trying to work through things, trying to still like get a workout in, move my body. And then there were some days, you know, where I was just like chatting with friends about it, talking with my family, resting, relaxing, watching movies, reading my books, and just trying to process it all. Because it's just such a big change. I mean, everyone knows this. Everyone knows going through a breakup is so tough because you go from talking to that person, we texted almost every day for 4 years, to not talking at all. It's kind of crazy. So it's a big change in your life. It's a big change of just your day-to-day schedule. They're no longer a part of your everyday, let alone your life as a whole. And so it does take a lot of time to kind of get used to that new normal. I feel like I am a little bit more used to it now. And I know I still have things that are his and stuff. Like I'm still going to see him probably pretty soon to like give those things back and stuff. But kind of cutting off that communication we both knew had to be done, because I think it's really hard to move on if you're constantly rehashing things out or texting or calling or seeing each other. So yeah, it's been probably 3 weeks without hearing or talking to him at all. And I think that's tough, but it also does help. Everyone says that does help to like just cut off communication. Otherwise you're going to be reliving everything. So that podcast I was talking about, she talked about how there's like 3 stages of a breakup. The first one they called like their wallowing, like they called it the mashed potato phase. It's basically where you're just like the typical sit on the couch, cry, eat ice cream, everything you see in a rom-com. So for me, I feel like that was kind of my first week. Again, like the initial like week after it happened, just the world seemed gray. I cried almost every day about it. I had to keep talking about it because I needed to tell my friends, needed to tell my family. I still had things to do, but I allowed myself to feel and think about it. And then kind of 2 to 3 weeks out is when I started going into like the phase 2 that this girl described it, like your independent phase. This is where you're working on yourself, okay? You're not dating. I'm probably not going to date for a while. I don't want to, I guess I really don't know like how my timeline is going to move, but like I can't even imagine dating right now. So I know that like this independent phase is going to be me probably for a while, where I'm working on myself, healing, spending time with friends and family, doing things I love, focusing on my work. And so I wanted to talk about some things that I've done to kind of help me in this independent phase. And then just to give like you the end, the third phase is like the dating, like moving on phase, putting yourself back out there again, which again, I can't see that even in my future right now. I'm still so much in this like phases 1 and 2. But it helped me to like see this and be like, yes, you can have your phase 1, feel it. I felt like I really went through that. Now I'm in this phase where it's like, it's still sad. It's still a huge change in my life. It's still part of my life. I'm still thinking about it all the time. Actually, not all the time. I would say like at least once a day, but it's not consuming my every thought like it did at the start. And I'm working on myself without you know, replacing this person in my life, without dating, without finding someone else, and learning that that's like, I need that, like, it's okay. I think I could see how it would be easy to like jump into another relationship right after you get out of one. For me, I'm a long-term relationship girl, and so it was like, it's exhausting getting out of this relationship, and so I'm like, no, I don't want to jump into another long relationship. Like, that's just not for me right now. So for me, in this independent phase, like how I'm kind of taking care of myself, healing through this breakup, as the title suggests. One, I started journaling. At first, I didn't want to journal about it because I was talking about it so much with people that I was like, oh, I don't want to have to like think inwardly as well. But I'm really glad my friend told me, like, no, you know how good journaling is. Like, you need to start journaling. So started journaling almost every day, sometimes even in the evenings. Like, I would just write down my thoughts, what I cried about, what I was thinking about, what was happening. Listening to podcasts and other creators and their like stories and how they healed. Like I mentioned, Natalie Barbeau, Payne Sarton, the Transform podcast has been really positive in my life as well. I went to Barnes & Noble. I had to drive like outside of Nashville because there's not a Barnes & Noble here. And I got some new books. I got a nonfiction book, and I got this one, which is like a book. It's called The Artist's Way. It's very popular. It's a spiritual path to higher creativity. So more of like a self-improvement type book that I'm excited to start reading every day. I want to get a new devotional, just like filling my mind with good things and going back to like growing and working on myself, because that is something that I've always done. You guys know my content. Even the past 4 years of being in this long-term relationship, I'm always working on myself and always improving. But now I'm like, okay, now there's a purpose behind it as well. Like it's going to help me move through this, because it's going to help me be able to focus on myself. Whenever you're in a relationship, you know, you're giving a lot of your time and your energy to another person, which is a beautiful thing. But then now that I don't have that anymore, I have more time to focus on my faith, on my health goals, on my career, on my, you know, relationship with God, relationship with my friends and family, and really working on myself so that I feel like at a good place. So I think this independent phase is like a good distraction, because I like doing that things. I like doing personal growth things. And so it's easy for me to kind of get into that new groove. And it's been a good distraction. Going along with that, like getting into a consistent workout schedule, eating healthy, like just trying to focus on that. And then spending time with friends. For me, the hardest thing is going to be weekends. Weekdays, I was always super busy. And my ex-boyfriend, so weird saying that still, was very busy. And so we'd only see each other really on the weekends. And so those in my mind are like, okay, that's the time that I would set aside for my relationship. And now that I don't have that, it does offer up a lot more freedom with my weekends. I can do more things with family. I can do more things with friends, but I need to make sure that I actually plan things, because I could see, like, if I'm just staying by myself at home alone on the weekends, I could see myself falling into like a lot of sadness, because it would just remind me like, oh, he's usually here. We're usually doing stuff. We're usually hanging out, having fun. So I need to make sure that, for me personally, like as a rule for myself, that I'm planning things on the weekends to do with friends and things, and have fun activities planned, trips, whatever, so that I'm not getting to that place, because I know I could get there pretty easily. Also, this past week, I just got back yesterday from a girls' beach trip, which was so great. I really needed it. This girls' beach trip was planned in January. It just kind of worked out to where it was around the time when I had been going through this breakup. And honestly, it was so nice to just like disconnect also from work, because work has been stressing me out. I think because my mind, I'll get into that in a second, but it was good to de-stress from not only work, but also just like thoughts and being in like, you know, similar places where he was as well. Being with friends, we laughed so much. We jumped in the ocean, even in our dresses. We had lots of drinks and food, and it was just such a refreshing trip. It was a whole week-long trip, which I rarely do week-long trips. I only do like maybe one a year. And so it was just really nice to disconnect, to chat a little bit about it. But honestly, like I was kind of at the point where I had talked to all my friends on the trip about it. They knew kind of what had happened. And so it was more of like a distraction trip. Like, we don't have to wallow in this anymore. I can be okay on my own. I can move through this. Let me just say this again, like I've stressed this so much, but my friends and my family too, I'm just so thankful for them. All of them, whether I saw them in person or whether we talked on the phone about it, my Bible study, like just everyone has been so supportive, and I just feel so blessed. And I just pray that any other person who's going through a breakup like this, or just going through a breakup in general, has that support system there, because it really means the world and changes everything. I just feel so loved and cared for, which is usually the feelings that like a boyfriend or significant other would give you. But even without that person in my life, I still feel, this is what's going to get me emotional talking about the people in my life, but even without that person who normally gives you love and affection and care and cares for you the most, I still feel that, which I'm very grateful to say. So that's what's going to get me emotional, talking about the amazing people in my life, because I really do recognize how great that is. So yeah, spending time with friends on this trip was great as well. I know not everyone can take a week-long trip when they're going through a breakup, but if you can, it's great. Or just like taking a weekend trip or getting away, spending a night at a friend's house. Maybe it's like one night little staycation, just like changing up your daily routine, I think was super helpful to like, because my daily routine was changing already. My weekend routine was already changing. So like just completely overhauling it and like going away for a week and having a completely different location, a completely different day to day, it really did help. Also, a big thing I feel like when people go through a breakup is they focus on work, which I'm trying to do, but honestly, that's just another part of my life that has felt very low. And I think they correlate. I think like the sadness and like feeling low from my breakup, obviously my work is me. I work for myself, so that's going to bleed into my work. I can't really separate the two. And so I have just not felt super motivated or passionate, which I hate saying, because one thing about me is like throughout my different relationships, throughout dating, boyfriends, whatever, one thing that stayed consistent is my passion for my work. And I'm right now feeling a low that I've never felt before. And it's scary because I've been doing YouTube for 10 plus years. I've had Dream Daily for almost 5 years now. And it's just been such a consistent thing in my life. And now I'm kind of like second guessing everything in my life. I'm like, okay, second guess my relationship. Now I'm second guessing my job. And it's just not a great feeling. I don't want to go into a ton of detail about this because it's just like too much for one video. But it's kind of tough because I want to throw myself into my work and as a distraction as well. But like the fact that I'm not feeling the passion and the connection there either is actually what's really scary to me as well, because that's always been a consistent in my life, no matter the relationship I was in. I'm working through a lot of things right now. All of this to say, I would love your prayers and your thoughts, just as I try to figure out my life. Honestly, I know we're all in that boat. Like I'm currently trying to figure stuff out, figure out what my life is going to look like now that I've had this very big change. It opens up a lot of possibilities, but it also is scary. Change is scary. To be honest, I wish I had a solid answer for you guys, but I don't know. I don't know what the future is going to hold. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know if, what's going to happen, but I'm really trying to use this time to put my trust in God, because I feel like I'm at a place where I'm kind of at rock bottom, and they say there's nowhere to go from rock bottom but up. But I just want you guys to know how I'm really feeling, and I want to be open and honest with you guys, because you follow along with my life. I think you deserve that. And I'm not doing great. I'm not thriving. This is one of the lowest lows I've had in a while. I think breaking up with someone you've been dating for 4 years is a valid reason to feel this low, but I'm tired of feeling it. I want to get back to my normal self, but I know it's going to take time. I know it's going to take working through it, learning, trying new things, getting out of my comfort zone. I don't know what the future has in store for me, but it's really allowing me to put my trust in God and know that He has a plan for me, Jeremiah 29:11, and He knows what I'll be doing. He knows what my life's going to look like a year from now, and I just have to trust in Him because I know He's got good things in store. And even though it may not seem like it right now, everything in my life, just one thing after another, has started happening, and I'm just like, I just need to put my trust in Him. I think a big part of me going through this is God being like, you need to just trust in me. You cannot do life on your own, because obviously I cannot. I 100% need Him, and it's just a good reminder that I do, and I should put my trust in Him, and that's my belief in all of this. So moving forward, I have been a little bit less on YouTube. I've been doing just one video a week. So yeah, I've just been trying to figure out, like I said, I got to get remotivated for content and for Dream Daily. We have some big things coming with Dream Daily, and like I need to have my focus there as well. So I'm just trying to work through things myself to get back to that state as quickly as possible, because I'm tired of feeling like this. And I thank you guys for understanding. I know you will all understand and be so amazing and be so supportive, and I'm just really thankful for that in advance. So bear with me if, you know, my content isn't, if I don't share as much over the next few weeks. I'm not anticipating anything too crazy changing besides just like probably one less upload a week, until I feel ready that I can handle posting more. And I just want to say this about my relationship too, is I was so grateful for it. I'm someone who looks at relationships like even if they don't work out, you still learn so much from them. You learn so much about yourself, about other people, about someone else's emotions and feelings, and how to coexist with another person, and learn what you like and what you don't like in a partner. And so I'm so grateful. No, I'm so grateful for the past 4 years. And it's so tough. If you're going through something like this, if you're having to make a big decision in your own relationship, like, know that I understand. It is so incredibly tough. I never want to have to do this again, but I'm proud of myself as well for doing it. I think it takes a lot of courage. At least that's what people kept telling me. It's like, you're so brave for doing this. It takes a lot of courage to make a change that you know in your gut you need to do. And so I'm very grateful to myself. I think my future self is going to be thanking right now me for making that decision. So that's this video. Just a chatty one. I wanted to give you guys this life update, and I'll see you guys in my next video. It's probably going to be a June reset, which will be a good one. I know you guys love those, and I love making those too. So, all right, I love you guys so much. I'm so thankful for you guys too. Just know that. Okay. I love you guys. Bye.